On to some Nintendo DS games. Picked up River City Super Sport Challenge. Really love these Konyo-kun or whatever they're called. I think it's Konyo-kun. The whole Tecmo art style they had for the River City games and the street gangs and everything like that. And this is supposedly to be a really wacky sports game where you play different challenges and you can like hit each other over the head with like garbage cans and stuff when you're doing marathon rounds and stuff like that. So looks pretty cool. It's an American version, was never released here in Europe. Also picked up a second copy of Kingdom Hearts Recoded. Actually I only had the cartridge before, which was the only game that I only had the cartridge for. I don't know why. Can't remember where I got it from, but I picked up the complete copy, actually from my sister who didn't enjoy this game, so I bought it off of her. Picked up a game that I've been wanting for quite a while, and that's Etrian Odyssey 2. The first game was released here in Europe, the second and third one was not, so finally added this to my collection. It's still sealed inside my reseal, so but I really want to play that, so I'm going to open the seal, of course. Picked up another Harvest Moon game, Frantic Farming, which is actually a puzzle game in the Harvest Moon universe. I don't think that's really my cup of tea, but I don't know. I really wanted a normal Harvest Moon game, but I picked this up quite cheap, so. Also got another American DS game, and that's A Witch's Tale. This is a NIS America game, and looks to be some sort of a really stylized RPG where you only use the touchscreen and you slot or you drag and pull all the spells you want onto the battle screen. Looks pretty neat. The artwork is amazing in the usual NIS America fashion. The most recent DS pickup is Pokemon Conquest, and I can't wait to just tear this up and play it. I got it yesterday, I think, and it's a strategy RPG in the vein of Nobunaga's Ambition, I think, but with Pokemons that you slot into these. You should choose like a warlord, a warrior, whatever, and they have a specific Pokemon assigned to them, and it looks really good. I really hope that this is the start of a new franchise for Nintendo, because strategy RPGs, there's just never enough of strategy RPGs. We need more. So nice. I think this is a great change of pace to the normal Pokemon games of just collecting and stuff like that. So. Also picked up Undercover Dual Motives, which is supposed to be an puzzle adventure game for DDS. Haven't played it. Broken Sword, Shadow of the Templars. This is the director's cut. It was also released for the Nintendo Wii, and I think it was a re-release for the PC as well. I've played this already on the PC way back, and I've tried the Wii version out. And the Wii version is actually pretty good. It works, you know, very good with the Wii remote. But I haven't tried the DS version. I don't think there's any dialogue on the DS version, which is a shame. So you need to read everything. But as a pocket-sized puzzle point and click puzzle adventure game, I think you could do a lot worse. So really nice to add that one to the collection. And the last one is Mystery Detective, and this is a game that took its sweet time to come out here in Europe. It's I don't remember the name in America, but it's something akin to this. Haven't tried it out, but it's also a puzzle adventure point and click game. So it's from this game is from Atlas, so it has some really nice and quirky art and story. Also picked up a PC game, or a PC collection actually, and when I bought this it was in excellent condition, but the seller wasn't really taking care when packaging it, so it got a little bit rugged on the, you see, got some damage in that corner. Otherwise it's in really good condition, and that's Heroes of Might and Magic Complete Collection. I've always been a really big Heroes fan. Heroes 2 and 3 are still my favorite games. And this one is a collection of all the games from the first one to the 5th, with all the expansions. And it also comes with a shirt, a poster, a soundtrack and stuff like that. It's a really nice kit if you're a fan, and the box is amazing. And all the contents in this box is still sealed. So it's just a really big shame that the beautiful box got so beat up in the shipping. But I didn't really pay all that much for it, so I'm really happy anyway. Yeah, so that's nice. I've played all those games before, so I'll probably just leave them sealed. For the N64 I picked up 2 games. The first game is a game in extraordinary good condition, and a game that I played a lot back in the N64 days, but I never owned it. It was a friend of mine who had it. I had Mario Kart and he had Diddy Kong Racing, and it's actually a really good arcadey you know, Mario Kart style of game. It's a racing game which also includes boats and airplanes and stuff like that. And let me just tell you that the graphics are amazing, and of course everything rare touched back in this era turned to gold. I don't think there's a single bad rare game on the N64, and this is no exception. It's a really good game, especially for the single player. If you play this Mario Kart in single player is not, you know, all that awesome. You need some friends to really enjoy it. But this single player is really good, and the multiplayer is a blast as well, of course. So really happy to own it, especially in this condition. As you can see, I have one of these. I bought the boxes for like all my games in Super Nintendo and 64 games and stuff like that, so I can keep them protected from shelf wear and some pressure damage, because they're quite sturdy, these boxes anyway. So yeah, really nice to have that. And also picked up a Japanese game. This is probably the last Japanese N64 game that I really wanted. I mean, there's a lot of Japanese N64 game exclusives, but a lot of them is pure shit actually. It's just, you know, some baseball games and stuff like that. But I already have Star Soldier, which is not exclusive. I think it came out in the US as well, but not in Europe. And I also have Sin and Punishment, which is, you know, a must. But now I also have Neon Genesis Evangelion, and this is a really cool sort of beat 'em up, story-driven game. And I wanted it for the longest time, and I got a really good condition copy for a very decent price. So very happy to have it. Too bad the N64 boxes in Japan was bigger than the ones we got in Europe and Japan, so the protection boxes I have can't fit this beast, so I have to come up with a different solution when I have the time. So until then I will just have it put aside so it won't be damaged. And for the Super Nintendo I picked up one of my all-time favorite games for the system, and I just wish there's some residue from a sticker on it, which I couldn't see when I bought the item. I won it at an auction, and this is the Scandinavian version of ActRaiser, and I think you can see some of the residue there. I have a protection box on it, but it's all the content is in great order, and the box is in really great order as well. Just some shelf wear on the top here, and of course the residue, which I couldn't see on the picture he posted. So I might just want a new box for this because the content. But anyway, I'm really happy to have it nonetheless, because it's such an amazing game, and it houses one of the absolute best stage 1 music tracks in any game ever, probably. So yeah, ActRaiser is it's a must if you own a Super Nintendo, so can't go wrong with it. Now to the really old games. I picked up quite a few games for the NES, and the first game I picked up was Castlevania 3, Dracula's Curse, complete inbox, absolute stunning condition. It's the Scandinavian version. The only small thing about this game is there's a small pressure wound. I don't know if you can see it under the foot of what's the name of it? Is it Christopher Belmont in this game? I don't remember. No, it's Trevor. Sorry, of course it's Trevor. Under the foot there's a bit of a pressure damage, but that's all. And the game is in such good condition, and this is also one of the, well, it's an essential NES game. It's a really good game, and it's really rare in this condition. It's really expensive, especially the Scandinavian copy, which is usually, the Scandinavian copies are extremely expensive. So I'm really happy to have this. That little pressure wound on the cart is probably the only thing that made me buy this game and get away with the price that I got it for. It was still expensive. It's really expensive. But if that little wound hadn't been there, this game would have been a lot more expensive, and I wouldn't have bought it because, well, I've seen complete copies of these go for extreme amounts of money, so several hundreds of dollars. So really happy to have it. And I've also seen, you know, versions that look really bad go for more than this too. So I don't know how it came to be that I won this, but I'm really happy I did. I'm a really big Castlevania fan, and yeah, feels great to have all three for the NES finally. Complete in box. Also, in the last recent pickup episode, I talked about the donation I got, and one of those games was Super Mario Brothers 3, and they were only cards. They were cards only, so they weren't complete in box, and there were no manual. So what I did was I found a manual and a mint box for a Scandinavian copy of Super Mario Brothers 3. And I'm so happy. This looks like brand new store-bought. It was an amazing find, so I could just pop the game in here and have a complete copy. So now I have a really nice complete copy of Super Mario Brothers 3, the Scandinavian version. So really happy about that. The last 3 games for the NES that I bought is American versions. Games that was never released here in Europe. And the first one is the notoriously bad-mouthed game, especially because the Angry Video Game Nerd had this game in one of his earlier reviews, and that's Friday the 13th. And this is a complete copy, and I've never seen a copy this immaculate. It looks like it's been, you know, just the seal has been pulled off. It's in such great condition. And to be perfectly honest, I don't really know why everyone is bashing on this game. It is LGN that published the game, but they didn't make it. They didn't make a lot of games. They published games. And well, at least I think they just published it. I don't know. Anyway, even if they did develop it, I must say they did a pretty good job. Not to say it's the best NES game I ever. No, it's not even close to being the best NES game I ever played, but I played a lot worse. And I still think that there's a whole lot of cool mechanics in this game. Like it feels like a deep game for the NES. That you need to light the bonfires. You need to you know, you can go to the cave and find Jason's mother's head, and if you kill her, I think it's a couple of times, you get her sweater, which smells like her, so you won't be attacked by Jason on the streets. You will only meet him in the cabins, and there's a whole lot of these small different things that makes this game feel a little bit more complex than a usual Nintendo game. But the graphics aren't that amazing, and you know, it's only like 1 or 2 songs in the entire game, and they loop endlessly. And even though it's quite catchy, it gets on your nerve when you've been playing it for a couple of hours. Anyway, I'm really happy to have it though, especially in this condition. It's in immaculate condition. Second game I picked up was Strider, was never released here, and the cover art is so amazing. It's in great condition, it's in like, yeah, you can't even, it's really good condition. And yeah, I played this a bit, and it's not all that bad actually. And when I had played this a bit, and then I watched a review on it. It was actually Snowcone, what's it, Retro Snow, which usually just he had a review of Monster Party once, and I had just bought Monster Party when I watched the review, and I was like, cool, that's, now I know what I'm in for when I get the game. And I wasn't disappointed at Monster Party at all. And the same thing happened with Strider. I had bought the game, I just got it home, and then I sat my ass down in front of YouTube, and then I saw that Retro Snow had a new video, and it was the Strider review for the NES, and I was like, mind is blown. And he seemed to enjoy it. I mean, it has its flaws, and even though I'm not as positively surprised as when I got Monster Party home, it's still a good game, you know. It's I really enjoy this game, so especially in this condition, I didn't pay a lot for it either, so really happy to have it. Damn it, itchy nose. And the last game is probably the one I'm looking forward to the most. It's an American game. Was exclusive to America, and that is Uninvited. And you might ask yourself, well, why is that your most, you know, why are you looking forward to that game the most? Well, as it says here, it says it's from the makers of Shadowgate. And Shadowgate on the NES it's got a lot of nostalgia for me, but I really loved Shadowgate and Deja Vu when I was growing up. And playing, of course I was quite young back then, so my English wasn't, you know, as awesome as it is. Well, lol, awesome. It wasn't as good as it is today. So they actually were Swedish translations for Shadowgate and Deja Vu, and I played those, and they had spelling errors, and they were pretty hilarious. But you know, it was easier than reading the English at the time, and I really enjoyed those games. They felt so mature in a way that I never thought an NES game would be. I remember being, you know, quite chilled or quite taken back by, you know, the atmosphere in Shadowgate. It felt cold and dark and really horrible compared to, you know, the games that were out on the NES, like cheerful platformers and stuff like that. So really enjoyed those games and the feelings they sort of conjured in me back then. And the Uninvited is supposed to be a game like that. It's exactly the same setup, you know, open take, move, whatever, the adventure type. But this is supposed to be a bit more easy, if I've understood correct, than Shadowgate and Deja Vu, because if you die in a room, and you probably will die a lot, you will just be set back one room and can continue from there. So it's a lot of trial and error, but you don't need to fiddle around with save files like in Shadowgate and, you know, have your torch burn out on you and you die and stuff like that. There's no torches in this game, so really looking forward to it. And of course it's a horror setting as well. It's a haunted house, and I really love settings like those. So those were the NES pickups, and I'm really happy that I you know, picked up as many NES games as I did, because who doesn't love the NES? I mean, it's awesome to add some stuff to it. The very last category here is Game Boy, and it's actually both Game Boy, Game Boy Color, and Game Boy Advance. So bear with me, we're almost through. The first game I picked up is actually Warlocked. It's a Game Boy Color game, and it's an RTS, real-time strategy game on the Game Boy Color, with the most amazing soundtrack I had ever heard on a handheld game, probably. It's really cool. I really want you to check out a Let's Play or some gameplay from this game on YouTube and see for yourself. It looks amazing, and I just received it yesterday, so I just popped it into a Game Boy to check if it works, and it works perfectly. And the music and the gameplay is pretty nice. I mean, it's an RTS on the Game Boy, you need to lower your standards a bit, but it works great. And I'm really happy to have this. This is an American exclusive as well. Was never released here, but as you all know, the Game Boy and Game Boy Color are region free, so I picked it up anyway, and I've sealed it in one of these, you know, protective boxes as well. Really cool game, and a lot of humor in it as well, with the wizards, the chicken whiz and everything. We can turn enemies into chickens and stuff like that. So yeah, it's really cool. I would really recommend that you try it out. The second game here is Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles for the Game Boy Advance. And oh no, it's a licensed product. Oh my god, run. No, actually stay a while and listen. Huh? See, Deckard Cain reference? Thing is, this game is pretty good. This is an arcade beat 'em up game in the vein of the old Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles game, the arcade games for the NES, for example, or Turtles in Time, if you will. So it's just based on the CG version, or the new style of Turtles, of course. So it's a bit darker and grittier, not as colorful, but it's really good beat 'em up game. And there's a sequel to this as well, which I think is supposed to be really good as well. I don't have it, so, but I was really happy to pick that one up because I got it pretty cheap. Next game is another American exclusive. I've been going after a lot of American exclusive games because, you know, a lot of those games I never tried, so I don't even have any nostalgia for them, so I really want to try them. And the first one is, this one is Drill Dozer. And it's for the Game Boy Advance. It's one of those games which came with a rumble feature, and it looks really cute. I think it's by Namco, but I'm not entirely sure. And you're playing, like, it's really nice sprite work in this game, and you're playing as this little bunny girl or whatever in her drill, with her power drill, and you use that to platform around and kill enemies and stuff. Looks really good, so really happy to have that. And here's a game for the original Game Boy, the black and white behemoth, and that is Dr. Franken. And this is one of those games. I don't think it's all that good actually, but I remember playing this game on the NES, because there is an NES version back when I was young, and I remember exactly I could have been in second grade perhaps, and it came with a strategy guide in one of the Swedish. I think it's one of the Swedish publications called Nintendo Magasinet, the Nintendo magazine, and which made me try to. But I think the game was pretty hard for me back then. But I found this complete copy of Dr. Franken on the Game Boy, and I thought I got overwhelmed by a lot of nostalgia, so I had to buy it, and it was so cheap as well. So I really didn't have to think about it much. And here's yet another USA only release for the Game Boy Advance. Well, not only, I think it was released in Japan as well, but it was never released in Europe, and that's a damn shame, because the first game was. And that's Klonoa 2. I think it's called the Dream Champ Tournament. And the first game was called Emerald of Dreams or something like that. And I already have the first one, the European version, sealed and everything. But now I got this, and it's you know, the Klonoa games on the Game Boy Advance are amazing. Great platformers. Really would like to see more of Klonoa nowadays, but I guess Namco is, yeah. Platformers, you know, this doesn't seem to be a lot of people who enjoy making platformers others than Nintendo right now, and that's a shame, because there's quite a lot of them that's really good, like Klonoa. And of course we always have Sonic, and he keeps trying. A lot of his games are pretty bad actually, but at least he's trying. Also picked up yet another Game Boy Advance game, which is USA exclusive, or, well, it was never released in Europe. This was released in Japan, and that's the Pocky Rocky game, Pocky Rocky with Becky. And I'm a big Pocky Rocky fan. I think the first Pocky Rocky on the Super Nintendo is a great game, and I know that's not exactly the first game, because the Kiki Kai Kai series was an arcade game and was ported to the Famicom as well. But the first game in the series I played was the Super Nintendo version called Pocky Rocky, which was released there. Amazing music, tight gameplay. It's sort of a shoot 'em up type of experience, but also as you can move around, you move the screen at your own will. So I really like that kind of gameplay. And this is not an entirely new game. This is a remake of the Famicom arcade game Kiki Kai Kai. and I think they added an extra character in there. But really happy to have it. Immaculate condition, really good. Picked up, this is not an American version, it's on a European version, and that's Konami Crazy Racers. And this is an amazing kart game. I couldn't believe it when I bought it, how good it was. It's if you think Mario Kart and then you think, well, in some ways it actually does surpass Mario Kart, but in other areas it doesn't. But it's really wacky. It's a lot more wacky than Mario Kart. And you can play as like Dracula and Goemon and what's it, Grey Fox from Metal Gear and stuff like that. It's really hilarious. It's small chibi versions of them, of course. And the soundtrack in this game is amazing. And the setup, it's a single player setup game, but you can play several people as well, but it feels like most energy has gone into the single player experience, which is really good. You need to prove yourself to be able to play different cups. You don't need to play one cup and just unlock the next. You have to prove yourself in qualification races and stuff like that. And it's really nice, cool power-ups, really nice Konami themed environments like the Parodius world and everything like that. So, and Dracula's castle with the really kicking bitchin' Castlevania remix, and also a great Goemon soundtrack as well. So really recommend that one. And also picked up the King of Fighters EX Neo Blood. Got this for cheap. Don't know really what to think of it. Fighting games on the Game Boy Advance isn't exactly my cup of tea, but it was cheap, and King of Fighters is usually pretty good. But I haven't tried it yet. And the last game I picked up in July is Donkey Kong Country 3, the Game Boy Advance version. This is the European version. It's a must-have. You know, the Donkey Kong Country games on the Super Nintendo are awesome, and they are also very awesome on the Game Boy Advance. So that's it, guys and gals. That was all the games I picked up in July. One heck of a haul, a lot of money, a lot of love, a lot of resealing and handling of games. But I'm really happy I picked it up. I got a lot of stuff to play now, even more than before, and so I never have a problem to find something to play. And that's awesome. I just love going in here and say, oh, I just finished this game, I need a new game, and then I can just browse through everything. It's an amazing, and that's sort of the appeal for collecting. The appeal for me, and that's why I'm sort of like collecting, is I will always have this sort of library of games that I can come back to, and you know, it's a great feeling. And my passion for games is really what drives me to spend this much money and this much time on this hobby. Yeah, so basically we're on our way into August now, and all the new releases will start rolling. I would probably pick up a lot less retro games and a lot less games overall than I've been doing, and that's because I'm going to start using some of that money and time to fix up the game room finally, because you know, I need more shelves. The games are just lying around, and I need a lot of new different things in here. I need to spice it up, I need to make it work, and that's going to take a lot of time and a lot of money. So I will be concentrating on new releases that I really want to play, like for example Darksiders 2. It's one of the games I'm looking forward to probably the most. That's coming out this autumn, and well, you know, games like that. Games that I've had pre-ordered for, you know, the longest time. And I will probably also pick up the Wii U, of course, because I love new consoles, and I really want to play Pikmin 3 and Zombie U and a lot of those games. And I think the Wii U will have a better launch than a lot of people expect. And even though it is sad that we didn't get a lot more Nintendo IPs at launch, I think we will make do with what we get, because we will get a Ninja Gaiden 3 Razor's Edge version, which will be superior to the versions, strangely enough, superior to the versions that we will have been given already. We will have different weapons, different ninpo, different, and we will have, heck load of blood and body parts and shit. So kind of feels like the complete version of Ninja Gaiden 3, which is kind of silly to think, but anyway, I will be concentrating on that, so you will probably see a lot less retro games, but I will probably sneak in one or two. Anyway, so yeah, it's been a great July. Can't wait for August, and I've got a lot of games to play. And if you have any recommendations of what I should start to play, or if you disagree with one of my purchases, or if you think that I picked up a really good game, let me know. It's always nice to get some comments, and I usually answer to all of them, because I don't get all that many. So anyway, thank you guys and girls for watching, and have a good one.